Hello everyone. In this video, we will take a look at some of the fundamental opening principles of chess. The video will have timestamps, so feel free to skip to the parts that you find most interesting. We are going to start by looking at some of the theory regarding opening principles. Then we will see a game which shows us the principles in action. Finally, at the end of the video, there will be some practice problems that you can try by yourselves. There are three main opening goals you should remember: rapid development, center control, and stopping your opponent's plans. In the rest of the PPT, we are going to go through each one of these goals in detail. Rapid development is one of the major aims of the opening. This is because the more pieces we have in action, or the more pieces we have developed, the more attacking chances we obtain. Furthermore, rapid development allows you to castle early. This is important because your king gets to safety and your rooks come out to play. Some openings, such as the Smith-Morra Gambit, even sacrifice material to allow rapid development. To develop rapidly, you must keep in mind the idea of tempo. Tempo is similar to time. You can make moves which gain tempo, like checks and attacks, but you can also make moves which lose tempo, like moving the same pieces again and again. The concept of tempo will become clear when we see the master game played by Paul Morphy later on in the video. Now I'm going to tell you some rules and principles that will help you to gain tempo and develop rapidly. The first rule, which is pretty obvious, is don't move the same piece twice in the opening. This is because moving the same piece twice in the opening wastes time, or tempo, and you're much better off developing several different pieces than moving the same piece again and again. The second rule is don't get your queen into the game too early. This is because the queen is a very valuable piece, and at the start of the game it's susceptible to attack. Minor pieces and pawns can attack the queen very easily, and it will be forced to move, wasting time. The third rule is always develop your knights before you develop your bishops. This is because knights are short-ranged pieces, and it takes more time to get them into a good position as compared to a bishop. Now, there are always going to be exceptions to these rules. For example, in the Scandinavian opening, the queen comes out into the center on move number 2. But, in general, it's best to stick to these rules and only break them if you are forced to. The second opening goal is center control. Strong chess players will always try to fight for the center with their pieces and with their pawns. This is because the nearer a piece is to the center, the more squares it controls. For example, the knight on d5 controls 8 squares, while the knight on h1 only controls 2. The struggle for the center is a common theme across many openings. The Sicilian defense, Queen's Gambit, Ruy Lopez, and Scandinavian are examples of that. The only rule for center control is you should always try and move your pawns and pieces towards the center. This is simple, but it's very effective. The third and final goal of the opening is stopping your opponent's plans. Remember, chess is a two-player game. You should constantly be thinking about what your opponent is up to and how you can make the opening harder for them. So many beginners just think about their own game and forget to see their opponent's ideas. This is why openings like the Scholar's Mate and the Fried Liver are so popular against beginners. You should actively try and make the opening harder for your opponent. Play moves that restrict their development or to make them lose tempo. If you do this, you'll have a very good advantage in the game. Here are some rules for stopping your opponent's plans. The first one is to use prophylaxis. Prophylaxis being the fancy word for stopping your opponent's plans. And the second one is, after every move your opponent plays, think to yourself, why did he play that? And if you do that, you'll understand his plan, and you'll understand how to stop it. To see all the principles that we learned applied in a real game, we are going to see a beautiful game played by the great Paul Morphy. So the opening is called Scotch Gambit, and black plays the bishop c5 variation. Now here, white plays knight g5. Now to a beginner, this move might seem very strong because it attacks the f7 pawn and it also increases the knight's activity. But this is a mistake for two reasons. Firstly, as we know from our principle, it's moving the same piece twice in the opening, and that's bad. And secondly, it also moves a piece away from the center. So now we're going to see how Paul Morphy punishes this. But before we see Black's next move, I would like you to pause the video and try and find the move by yourself. So I'm thinking that most of you probably saw knight e5, and it looks like a good move, right? It's attacking the bishop and it's defending the pawn at the same time. But playing knight e5 would just be repeating White's mistake. You're moving the same piece twice in the opening. For knight e5, White would just take knight into f7, bishop into f7, king into f7, and then queen h5. And this after this check, Black plays g6, and White takes this. And here White looks better to me because the game just seems easier. His king can castle, his bishop can easily come into the game, and his queen is pretty active and can cause a bit of mayhem. So that's why knight e5 isn't exactly the best move. So instead, what you can play, or what Paul Morphy played, was knight h6. And this move, it looks a bit queer because it's moving the piece away from the center. But it's actually, the pieces are going to get traded off anyways. So White continued to play knight into f7, and here the bad knight just got traded off, knight into f7. And after bishop into f7, king into f7, queen h5, g6, and takes, we reach a similar position. But the difference is crucial. In the previous position, the knight was here on g8. But now in this position, the knight is on c6. So this little like knight maneuver from g8 to c6, or the difference, is going to cost White the game. Here Paul Morphy played d6, and this is again one of our principles of gaining tempo. He's developing his pawn in such a way that it attacks the queen and it gains him a tempo. And this also shows us why we shouldn't move our queen into the center of the board too early. It's going to get attacked again and again. So White moves his queen to b5, and Black centralizes his rook by playing rook e8. Another principle: centralize your pieces and exert pressure on the center. Here White plays queen b3 check, which is again moving the same piece again and again in the opening, wasting tempo, but it is a check, so it's kind of fine. Here Black plays d5, and again this move follows the principle of pressuring the center, because the move d5, not only does it block the check, it also adds some pressure to the e4 pawn. Now White plays over here f3 to protect the pawn, and Black plays knight a5. So now you may say to me that, well, this move moves the piece away from the center, so how can it be good? But the reason that Paul Morphy played this was tactical. By playing knight a5, the queen has to move somewhere, and it can't stay in this diagonal from a2 to g8. So after it moves, the d5 pawn will be unpinned. And that's exactly what happened. After queen d3, the d5 pawn was free to capture the e4 pawn. And after this exchange, Black brought out his queen with a check. So the opening is almost done over here, so it's fine to bring out your queen. And plus, Paul Morphy is also winning material by this check. So these are one of those exceptions where it's okay to get your queen out into the game. After g3, Paul Morphy plays rook into e4 check, attacking move. An interesting option for him was also to play queen into e4, And after this exchange, Black is clearly going to win this endgame. He has an extra pawn and a superior position. But Paul Morphy likes to attack, so he chose rook into e4. So we can see now Black's advantage really starting to take shape. So Black moves his queen back, and after 92, so 92 is a developing move, yes, which develops and gains a tempo, but it's a bit too late now. So the opening is over from here, but the rest of the moves and the way that Paul Morphy handles this game is really beautiful. So I'm just going to continue to show you the game. After rook e3, attacking move, White plays queen b5, another attacking move. And here Black plays the interesting c6. It's a really good sacrifice because White can't play queen into a5. If he does that, then rook e2 check, king f1. And I mean, here, whatever White plays leads to checkmate. For example, king f1 is just rook e1, king f2, and queen e2 mate. And pretty much anything else is also checkmated. So king f3, for example, it's clear checkmate to queen e3 and king g1. I think it's probably the same thing. Queen e3, king f1, and queen f2, right? So that's why it's a really nice sacrifice, because white can't take the knight. So the queen can't take the knight. So now the queen moves to f1, and here black continues the tactical idea with bishop h3. Again, taking is not possible because of rook e2. So white moves the queen to d1, running away. So as you can see, this queen has moved so many times. So it's gone to h5, to c5, to b5, to b3, to d3, to b5, to f1, to d1, and it's just gone full circle. And that's what's going to happen most of the times when you get your queen out too early in the game. You're going to end up wasting a lot of time, and you're going to end up accomplishing almost nothing. So now the game ends very quickly. After rook f8, planning a discovered check, white plays knight f3, and after king e8, Alexander resigns because the position is doomed and there's no way that he can salvage anything from this. Thank you guys so much for watching this YouTube video. Before you go, you can try out some of these problems. They're taken from Arthur Yusup's Build Up Your Chess book. And the 3-star problems are a bit difficult, but I think most of you will be able to get the easier problems. If you have any questions about these problems, you can ask me in the comments. I'll answer all your questions. I might even give you hints for some of the problems. And if you want to learn some more chess, go deeper into the chess world, probably improve your openings even more, there will be more links in the descriptions where you can do further studies. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.